Hey y'all, so I'm doing my presentation on Florence Nightingale. She eventually became to be known as the Lady with the Lamp. And as a fellow nurse, of course, I want to brag on her a little bit. So we're going to start off talking about who is she. She was a nurse, of course, but she was dedicated to her work, and she eventually established St. Thomas's Hospital and Nightingale Training School. The school was very important because back then they did not have traditional nursing schools that we have today, where LPNs you're in training for at least a year, RNs 2 to 4 years. They went for a few weeks and then they were nurses, which that is a scary thought. But hey, different times now. She was morally just a good person overall, wanting to help take care of everybody. I cannot say if she was generally a good person because I don't know her personally. So, her early life, this is a picture right here of where she grew up. She was born in Florence, Italy on May 12th, 1820. She does have a sister, and they named her after the city she was born in, just like Miss Nightingale was. Her mother was of an upper class. She was also very into social climbing. She was always talking to the bigger and better people. Her father was a wealthy landowner. They owned two different sets of land, and this picture shown is Lea Hurst in Derbyshire, where she spent most of her time. Her father provided her and her sister's education. They learned many different languages, and Florence Nightingale would take care of the people in the neighborhood as well. By 16, she knew that she wanted to be a nurse. She felt like it was a calling from God to do this, but her parents were not very supportive of her. I feel like nursing is kind of glamorized now in a sense, like, oh, they make all this money, they only work 3 days a week. But back then, nursing was very laborious. That's what the poor people did. They were immoral, unskilled people. So they were not thought highly of, and her high class parents did not want her to be associated with that. But she was so dedicated that she even turned down a marriage proposal. That way she could continue on her journey of being a nurse. So here is a picture of her in her nursing class. In 1844, she attended nursing school in Germany at the Lutheran Hospital. And by 1850, at her first nursing job, she worked at a London hospital, and they promoted her to like a supervisor position within a year, which is very fast. I could not imagine being in charge of a hospital within a year. But I bet she's seen a lot in that 1 year. Nowadays, we don't see stuff like she did. She went through a cholera outbreak, and luckily she learned that if we improve hygiene, the death rates will decline. She is most popular for the Crimean War. In 1853, they did not have supplies. They hardly had any nurses. Everything was unsanitary and described as inhumane. In 1854, she received a letter asking her to come help take care of the soldiers during the war. So she gathered almost 38 nurses to tend to these soldiers. When she got there, many of them were dying from diseases rather than injuries from the war. She noticed that they had contaminated water. Patients were laying in their soiled linens in hallways, and there were rodents and bugs. So in this picture, you can see that she's tending to soldiers, and you have them in a common area. So she decided that she wanted to clean the hospital up, and she convinced the least sick, least critical patients to help her clean. So they helped scrub the walls, the ceilings, everything they could to get the place clean and more desirable in a way. Not that a hospital is desirable. Um, and she stayed up all night providing care to these soldiers who needed her, and she carried a lamp with her, and that's where she got the nickname Lady with the Lamp. She ended up reducing the hospital death rate by 2/3 just by cleaning. And they even nicknamed her the Angel of Crimea. And here she even established dietary requirements, made it a point to do their laundry, and she even had a classroom area open for them where the soldiers would learn, and they even wrote letters back home, which is very good for the mind for these soldiers. The Nightingale Rose diagram came about because of the death rate that she decreased. She worked with people in statistics to analyze this war data, and it came about that 16,000 out of 18,000 deaths were from preventable diseases and not actually from the war or injuries from war. Unfortunately, in 1855 time frame, she got Crimean fever, which to us is closely described as brucellosis, which is pictured here. She most likely got it from contaminated milk. It is a bacterial disease that infects animals, and she got it from unpasteurized dairy products. She had unpasteurized milk. It causes fever, weakness, fatigue, and she feels it in her joints and her muscles. So she continued to work from home. She wrote journals and books from home. One of her more famous ones is Notes on Nursing, where she described the importance of hygiene, getting fresh air, having proper lighting, having a good diet, having peaceful, quiet time, and just being attentive to the patients. She wrote many books, pamphlets, and reports. And unfortunately, on August 12, 1910, her time here on Earth came to a close and she passed away. She requested a quiet funeral, even though everybody was like, she's the best, we want this huge extravagant thing. She wanted it to be quiet. She ended up being buried in Hampshire, England, and she became known as the pioneer of modern nursing. And here we have pictured, on the left we have her Notes on Nursing, and on the right the hospital that she had been working at. Alrighty, that's all I got for y'all on her. Here is where I got my information from. And then these are the links to all the pictures that I used. Thank you.